Hey, how you doing? Kevin Moloney from the Moloney Method. We have a very interesting subject tonight. Intuitive eating, okay? It's the eating plan from millions of years ago, okay? And it's based on your intuition leading you on what to eat and how much to eat. The main focus of intuitive eating is to take away that feeling of deprivation. Scientists have found that when people go into a diet and they feel that they're deprived, it is a one-way street to overeating. Deprivation is the thing that you will not have in intuitive eating. It is based on listening to the signals that your body naturally sends to you. When you go through the eating process, you have three things happen. You have hunger, you have fullness, and you have satisfaction. Those three things you have signals for. Now, the key to listening to the signals is taking time while you're eating, because the signals run a little bit behind the actual event. So when you're sitting down at a meal, in the middle of the meal, you need to stop and you need to ask yourself, am I full? Okay? In the middle of the meal. And then afterward, and you measure fullness at that time also. And at the end of the meal, as you're getting near it, you ask yourself, am I satisfied? Okay? Intuitive eating will lead you to what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat if your signals are ready to listen. The only thing you have to watch out for with intuitive eating is too much junk food. Because if you eat too much junk food, it sits down the signals, okay? So what we did this week, we did an experiment with one of my favorite people in the world, my grandson, Shay. And his mom, my daughter, Megan, watched how he ate, when he ate, and she judged his temperament after the fact. Now, it was extremely interesting to watch a purely intuitive eater who is full of energy every day, and if I might brag a little bit, is really built at 3 years old. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring one of the other favorite people in my life, my daughter Megan, and she's going to tell you the specifics on what Shay did as she followed him through his intuitive eating. Meg, you want to come out here? I'm going to do some intuitive eating. I'm going for a bagel.
Okay, so I just, basically what I do, and people may agree or disagree with me, is my son, Shay, he kind of knows what we have in the kitchen, and I basically show him what he can have, and he tells me what he wants. And if he doesn't want something, I don't make him eat it. If he doesn't want it, I take it away and I give him something else. And I find it interesting that he pretty much self-regulates his nutrition without me forcing him to eat certain types of foods. When I track and break down his nutrients and his macronutrients, he actually is pretty much on point with what any human being, especially a toddler, needs to eat. So I went ahead and I tracked from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I give him very boring foods because that's what he likes, but I let him basically tell me what he wants, and I give him some, and then if he asks for more, I give him more, and then if he asks for more, I give him more until he doesn't want it. Okay, so I'm going to quickly give you the menus for each day, and then I'm going to go ahead and tell you the overall calories, macronutrients, and the averages of all three, so you can see how my son self-regulates his own diet in a pretty good way without even knowing what any of this means. Okay, so Thursday morning for breakfast, Shay had 3 meatballs and 2 pieces of cheese. Then about an hour later, he had 1 banana and 1 cup of juice. Then at the babysitter, he had a half cup of Cheerios with a half cup of whole milk. Then for lunch, he had a half cup of rice and 2 ounces of chicken. Then for dinner, he had a burger patty and a small French fries. And then for at nighttime, he had 2 cups of milk. Okay, so that was Thursday. Then Friday morning for breakfast, he had 3 Fig Newtons. And then about an hour later, he had 4 meatballs. Then after the meatballs, he had 2 pieces of cheese. Then for lunch, all he had was a banana and a cup of juice. Then for dinner, he only had 3 more meatballs, and then he had another cup of juice and 2 cups of milk. So that was Friday. Okay, now Saturday, he woke up, he wanted 3 meatballs and 1 cup of cheese. Then as a snack, he wanted 2 Fig Newtons. Then for lunch, he had a burger from In-N-Out and a small French fries. He probably ate about half of each. Then for a snack, he had a banana. Then for dinner, all he wanted was juice and milk. 1 cup of juice and 2 cups of milk. Okay. Then Sunday, he wanted 3 meatballs and 1 banana for breakfast. 2 Fig Newtons for a snack. He had half a donut, old-fashioned glaze, 1 burger patty, small French fries, 2 cups of milk for dinner, and 1 cup of juice. Okay, so that's the 4 days, all the foods that he ate. So, for 4 days, he ate 4,040 calories in 4 days, which averages out to 1,010 calories per day. In 4 days, he had 489 grams of carbohydrate, 144 grams of fats, and 203 grams of protein, which averages 122 grams of carbs per day, 36 grams of fats per day, and 51 grams of proteins per day. And if you look at if you look at the grams and the percentages, he basically does about half of his food from carbohydrates, and the other half is a little bit more protein, but almost evenly split with fats and protein. And his calories are pretty much on point for what a 3-year-old should be getting on a daily basis. About 1,000 calories is what a 3-year-old should be eating when they're growing, etc. Because basically Shay's about 30 pounds, and when you multiply his weight by 10 is 300, but you basically want to be multiplying their weight by 3 because they're growing and they're supposed to be like tripling their weight every year. So it pretty much averages out to what someone of his size should be eating. So it's interesting because, like I said, I do not make Shay eat certain foods. I do not make him eat certain things first or second or third. I basically let him choose what he wants to eat. If all he wants is Fig Newtons, then that's what I give him, and then I'll find the next day he'll want more meat and cheese and fruit or something like that, because I think in his little mind intuition, he knows what he's craving based on what his body needs. And I think the proof is in the pudding with the scientific breakdown on my yellow pad that I have. And that's it. So we all strive to be intuitive, but really the reason it's hard for us to be intuitive is because we've been taught so much through social media and through information that's available to us that it clouds our ability to be intuitive. So it's almost impossible for adults to be intuitive the way a child can before they learn about how they can control their eating and their weight and their, how their food can affect their weight, etc. So we kind of mess ourselves up in that way. But, so it's interesting. So any moms or dads out there, you should do the same thing. Try it out. Watch let your kids eat what they want and see how your kids will regulate their own nutrition without really having to fight with them about it. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
When's the next show, Meg? What do we have?
I don't know when he's on Fridays.
And how do they get hold of us?
MoloneyMethod.com is the email.
At Gmail.
Oh, at gmail.com. Moloney Method, MOLONEY method at gmail.com. And
Thank you, Meg.
that's it.
Thank you.